Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. You're watching The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan, and we are coming to you live from the CNN News 18 primetime studio presented by Green Lamb Laminates. We begin this Thursday edition with big news coming through. For the first time in decades, the head of Pakistan's intelligence agency, the Inter-Services Intelligence or the ISI, is visiting Bangladesh with ISI Chief Lt Gen Asim Malik in Dhaka via Dubai, and this happened earlier in the week, where he was received by Lt Gen Mohammad Faizur Rahman, the Quartermaster General or QMG of the Bangladesh Army. And why this is a cause for worry. Bharat's foes are actually joining hands together to create an unstable neighborhood to plot infiltrations, aid terror, and destabilize our country. This exclusive input has been shared by our Security Affairs Editor Manoj Kumar Gupta, and according to intelligence sources telling Manoj and CNN News 18, the meeting is aimed to create intel sharing network between Pakistan and Bangladesh. This is the first time, for the first time in decades, that a Pak intelligence head has actually visited Dhaka. The agenda, Bharat believes, is to create trouble in the region, aid infiltration into Bharat because the LOC penetration from the borders with Pakistan is becoming difficult. So they will use these porous borders to try and infiltrate. And as per intel sources, there are security concerns for Bharat along the eastern and northeastern regions. The ISI chief has met the Bangladesh Army general, who's considered close to Islamists working against Bharat. And as per intel sources to CNN News 18, Faizur Rahman has seen a meteoric rise soon after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. And he is seen to be in cahoots and very much in tango with the Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh. Now, CNN News 18 has also accessed exclusive intelligence input on this entire Bangladesh-Pak meeting. The ISI's motto is to keep the Bangladeshi student Islamists in hand as they can delay the routine elections, and also has the capability to derail the Muhammad Yunus government when the situation turns against him. Pak ISI is aware that their stooge Khalida Zia is unwell and is not in a position to come back to power. So they want to try and continue to create this vacuum and prevent the Awami League from coming back. And out of all the Bangladeshi political parties, the Awami League has the most robust cadre and presence. The Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh, the Ansarullah Bangla, some of the other outfits, and even Khalida Zia's party, BNP, does not have the kind of footage, presence and cadre across Bangladesh. So the footprint is lacking. The ISI thereby is banking on radical Jamaat cadre to try and cozy up to Bangladesh again, and then push that entire narrative, revive the Razakars somewhere. Now, as per intel sources, ISI's main aim is to use the Jamaat cadre to create unrest, not just in Bangladesh, to try and seek quasi-control, but thereby also try and create problems for Bharat in our eastern parts and our northeastern parts. The ISI is actually plotting to aid the Bangladesh army in future to create an ISI-led or ISI-puppeted government in the future. And this growing collaboration between Dhaka and Islamabad also poses fresh challenges for regional security, particularly in Bharat's vulnerable northeastern states. Now, since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, the meetings between Yunus and Pak Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif at international summits have also raised eyebrows. Now, has Dhaka forgotten how Bharat helped the nation to liberate in 1971 from this clutches of very West Pakistan? That a big question. Has this been forgotten is what we ask? Or is it just the rise of those even then who had sympathies with the Pak army, who wanted a genocide, a demographic culling of Bengalis, mostly Hindus and Shia? Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow, ORF, with us. How do you see this? Faizur Rahman is someone who's seen close to the Islamist groups in Bangladesh. He is meeting General Malik, the head of the ISI.
So, Anand, I think most of the fears that we had when Sheikh Hasina was violently overthrown by an orchestrated mob. I think all those fears have come true. And unlike some Indian professors of economics who seem to root for this so-called Nobel Peace Laureate, uh, who has a dodgy past, uh, many of us were not convinced that he is the kind of person we can really work with. He is very silken in his language, but I think he harbors a lot of hatred for India and for the Hindus. He pretends otherwise, but that's besides the point. But I think it's important to understand that there has always been a Pakistan in Bangladeshis. Many Bangladeshis, despite the fact that they got butchered by the Punjabis in Pakistan, seem to look up to them maybe as some kind of superior. Only they wanted their own agency, which they got when Bangladesh was formed. But I think the sentiment in Bangladesh, which please remember that in 1905 the Muslim League was set up in Dhaka, and the Pakistan movement had a very strong footing in Bangladesh, or what is now Bangladesh, it's Pakistan. And frankly, I think that element has always been present. In the last 15 years of Sheikh Hasina's rule, that element had gone into the woodwork. Now it's come back out. And we've seen before Sheikh Hasina was in power, we've seen these people um, carry out many inimical actions against India in conjunction with Pakistan. There is that infamous Chittagong arms haul case where there were these 10 trucks
Yeah.
full of weapons meant for separatist elements from the northeast. We know that many of the terror groups inside Bangladesh had Pakistani links and were operating inside India. Sorry, we know that Pakistan used the Bangladeshi route to infiltrate into India. We know all of that. All of that was happening. Sheikh Hasina clamped down on it. And the reason she did it was that she understood that it is better to cooperate with India rather than have a conflictual relationship with India. Now, the current dispensation in Bangladesh, I'm not talking about these radical students who are so-called advisors to the government. Most of them, forget it. I don't want to say something on a family channel.
Right.
But the fact is that they have to ask themselves with the kind of actions they are doing, is this how they want to carve out a Bangladeshi identity in terms of not being India or in terms of hostility towards India, or does Bangladesh have an identity of its own? Number one. Number two, they have to understand that if they are going to do this kind of stuff, hobnob with the ISI. And when ISI talks about intelligence sharing or about cooperation on anti-terrorism, you know what it means. It means cooperating on spreading terrorism. It means, carrying out sabotage activities against India, doing all kinds of other nefarious stuff against India. We know what that means, right? The Bangladeshis need to ask themselves that if they want to go down that road, of course, there will be repercussions. There will be serious consequences for Bangladesh. And they need to ask themselves whether that serves the interests of the Bangladeshi people or whether a good cooperative relationship with India serves their interests better. Unfortunately, I think the Bangladeshis are not answering those questions. Maybe they're scared. But I think things are not looking good forward.
So, Shashank, all of this cannot be just the Pakistanis. Sometimes we give the Pakistanis and the ISI too much credit. They don't even deserve so much because they cannot act unless they have the big brother, Uncle Sam, backing them. And this has been seen oftentimes in the past. Now, with the change in administration in the US, can we see some backing off on this front? Or does it remain in America's strategic interest to keep Pakistan and Bangladesh on the boil and to create or to do what they are doing? Because somewhere they also want to exact control and they want a footprint here, a permanent footprint here. American airbase and the need for it is a strategic thing beyond the Biden administration. And somewhere the regime change is attributed to that because Hasina did not kowtow to the Americans. So is Pakistan's involvement, their proximity, somewhere is there the American deep state involved?
Look, I think there was an involvement of the American deep state in the regime change which happened. Uh, and there were these dubious diplomats or ex-diplomats, Americans, who keep rooting for, Yunus and the rest of the bunch, and pretending as though these are some kind of poster boys of liberalism and progressive values, not taking into cognizance their very dubious links with terror organizations and radical organizations. All of that has been brushed under the carpet. But thankfully, most of those guys are no longer going to be part of the American system, or at least that's what one hopes. The problem with the Americans is they get into these kind of things and then they lose control over this game. Now, what is likely to happen is it's not going to be so much Uncle Sam, but Uncle Chen who is likely to move in and using the Pakistanis as their cat's paw. Now, the Pakistanis will again exploit the Bangladeshis because they think that they can open another front against India. But the consequences of that will be suffered by the people of Bangladesh and by the state of Bangladesh. Now,
Yes.
already we are seeing that the kind of policies they are following have created a lot of unrest within Bangladesh. It's starting. A lot of disruption has already happened. And we are seeing the impact of that on the Bangladesh economy. Their exports are falling, orders are drying up, all kinds of other things are happening. And remember, it's a one product economy. And if that one product its market starts suffering, where do they go? Now, of course, the Chinese and the Pakistanis will keep leading them up the garden path as they always do. But what does Pakistan offer Bangladesh? Apart from destruction and devastation, what can Pakistan offer? Pakistan is competitive in two products. Polio, it's a world leader in the spread of polio. Terrorism. There is no third thing that Pakistan has to offer to the world.
Right.
And unfortunately, if that is the direction in which Bangladesh wants to go, I can't stop Bangladesh from committing suicide. But I think what I need to start thinking about very, very seriously, and I think some action has started on that count, is how do I insulate myself from what is happening in Bangladesh? So we are still hopeful that better sense will dawn on the Bangladeshi authorities. But it doesn't, I think you can't build policy on hopes, unfortunately. And what is likely to happen is that given the kind of people who are running the show in Bangladesh, the army is divided. There are the Islamists or the anti-India elements, which may not be heading the army right now, but are in very powerful positions. I don't think the army chief is really in a position to assert himself, even if he wanted to, assuming he wanted to. And within
but
the
somewhere I think one, I'm just saying India's fault and also Bangladesh under Sheikh Hasina that they allowed this current generation to forget 1971. Allowed the current generation in Bangladesh and Bharat also to forget a promise that Mujibur Rahman had made, that Bangladesh and Bengali people will never forget that it is Bharat Ma. Bharat is the Janani of Bangladesh. So this is something which also needs to, perhaps we need to reflect that why are they not continuing the narrative, the historic narrative, and India is never impressed upon the fact that that's a huge favor that we did on the people of Bangladesh, the Bangla people in Bangladesh. That be it the Sufi, be it the Shia, be it the Hindus, at all levels. Now this Punjabi Sunni issue which was there is history. How have they forgotten this history just in about 5 decades is another question. Sushantji,
allow me 2 sentences. Number one, you're talking about Janani. Bangladeshis are confused about who actually the father of the nation is. They commemorated Jinnah's birth anniversary, and some people call Jinnah the father of the nation. There are others who say Sheikh Mujib is the father of a nation. And still others who says Yaur Rahman is the father of the nation. So they don't know who the father of the nation is. Number one. So you can make out what you want out of this child.
I'm just saying that we didn't impose on this nation, which is strategically important to us and its people, that they have to be, they need to remember that how they are. But you're also saying that perhaps that's a lot which perhaps will never give us credit or be indebted. Sir, I have to move on. I have to move on.
Okay, Ji.
Okay, Ji. ठीक है.
The Bangladesh have forgotten. What about us? There are so many people in India, people who were booted out of Pakistan, thrown out there Their women were raped and murdered, and all kinds of things happened to them.
Yeah.
Many of those guys, some of them Khalistanis, are swearing by Pakistan today. So we have the memory of a goldfish.
Correct.
So does Bangladeshis have a memory of a goldfish. What's the big surprise in that?
No, I think that's something that we need to lament, and perhaps going forward, future course correct, that nobody has this memory of a goldfish and they have elephantine memories. Sushantji, thank you. I have to move on because today is Parakram Divas, so there is politics around Subhash Chandra Bose, so have to move on. Thank you for your inputs. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Let's move on. Now, as Bharat marks Parakram Divas on the 128th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, politics has yet again erupted, with Congress leader and MP Rahul Gandhi actually quoting his death date. That's the biggest question. Many will believe that 18th of August 1945, Netaji didn't die on that date. But Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has posted a tribute to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on his birth anniversary, mentioning the Indian freedom fighter's date of death as the 18th of August 1945. Now, along with the tribute, Rahul Gandhi also shared a picture of Netaji Bose, which included the date of his death. Union Minister BJP MP Shukanta Majumdar criticized Rahul Gandhi for the post, calling the mention of the date as disrespectful. The Trinamool Congress, Kunal Ghosh, has also come out and said, everybody is clear about his date of birth. His date of death still remains suspect. That's the position of the Trinamool. BJP MP Samik Bhattacharya expressing displeasure, calling the post blatant disrespect to Netaji. BJP leaders said that Indians have been kept in the dark regarding the death of the great leader. Yet Rahul Gandhi put up this post today declaring his date of demise as 18th August 19. Interestingly, even Akhilesh Yadav has questioned that, because he's put a picture of Netaji and Gumnami Baba and saluted Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and taken a swipe at the BJP, saying what's happened to the museum in Sri Ayodhya which was built by the Samajwadi Party. Don't let it collapse, and don't let it at least nurture it and ensure that more people are aware about it. So these are the developments. SP Chief is saying that please maintain the museum of Gumnami Baba built in Ayodhya during the SP government and prevent it from going into oblivion. Why has he said that? So clearly Samajwadi Party also believes Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose came back to Bharat, and this entire aspect of him being Gumnami Baba is something that the SP espouses. But once again, the commonality between the BJP or between the Samajwadi Party, the Trinamool, BJP is the fact that 18th of August 1945, which was underlined as a cabinet decision under the Manmohan Singh government in 2006, is not the date of the death of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. But why talk about his death date on his birthday? That's another question. Is there a major faux pas by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, or does the Congress need to make its position clear? Saurav Sikdar, spokesperson of the BJP with us. Nikul Patel, Congress leader with us. Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. I hope you realize, Nikul Patel, that Jai Hind is something that is a gift of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And we say Jai Hind, but the Congress is still on his birth anniversary talking about his date of death.
See, Jai Hind and Jai Bharat, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, all are the slogans given by our great leaders who fought for the freedom of our country, and we know that how we have achieved this freedom. Today, it's a birth anniversary of our great leader Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and the controversy that Bharatiya Janata Party wants to create, I think it's really amazing. You know, they want to just criticize what is written. I'm just looking at the post, and Rahul Gandhi ji has given a due respect to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose by calling him Netaji ka netrutva साहस सामाजिक न्याय के लिए उनका संघर्ष. All these things, but BJP just want to find out something that is out of fishy. That is what I want to say.
You didn't see the date of death. Why has the date of death been written on his birth anniversary?
See, date of if you see
पोस्ट में पूरा पढ़िए ना.
हाँ, पूरा ही पढ़ रहा हूँ. अगर डेट ऑफ डेथ का जो लिखा है 18th August 1945, and if you see after that no one knows what happened to him. We only know that there was a crash in the aeroplane, and
So then if no one knows what happened to him, why are you confirming it as his death? Because in 1946, American intelligence has said, no, there are letters to confirm this. American intelligence declassified files by the government of India says, and also American intelligence, I hope you have read and seen the text very clearly. That letter, I think we have a footage of that from a conversation I had with Anuj Dhar and Chandrachud Ghosh. But that letter very clearly says, we cannot confirm that Netaji is alive, nor can we confirm that Netaji is dead. How is it that the Congress is confirming he is dead? What is the proof?
See, once again, if you see that what letter you are quoting clearly states that we are not confirmed whether he is alive or he is dead. But the controversy is there, and definitely everybody wants to know what's the date of that. But if you see the law, I can say the section 108. Section 108 clearly states that person not had been heard for 7 years, the person can be presumed to be dead after the expiry of the 7 years. And even Hindu marriage
Sir, you
Act and
can
Indian
presume a
Civil Marriage
person
Act-
to be dead, sir, but can you confirm the date of his death? His 128th birth anniversary, so
last thing
clearly
on
he would
which
have
he
passed
thinks
away. But
that-
did he pass
So that is
away
what I'm
in
saying.
Azad Hind as a person
is
who was
what I
left to
want to
ignominy sometime in the 1980s? Did he
is
die
what-
in 1945 or did he die in 1950 or did he die in 1980? Can you confirm it?
Is he visible or available or seen any date after 18th August 1945?
So please tell me one single proof on the basis of which the Congress continues to claim he died on the 18th of August 1945. Saurav Sikdar, please.
We are not claiming it. but
And
if you
sadly,
see the
sir,
law-
a cabinet decision of the Manmohan Singh government in 2006 was upheld by the Modi Sarkar also, sir. Saurav Sikdar.
Okay, fine, that's good.
In a birthday of Netaji, such a foolish comment from the leader of opposition is totally objectionable. Netaji is alive in the heart of all patriotic India. That's another thing. But how come Rahul Gandhi know the exact date, place, and other thing? I mean, what is the source? He has to clarify that. Otherwise, he has to unconditionally apologize. Because there is a trend.
But Saurav
to
Sikdar,
defend
under
Netaji.
the Modi government, in parliament, the government also underlined and quoted the same cabinet decision of 2006 in Manmohan Singh government. The government in the last 10 years has not done anything to ensure what is the date of death of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Yes, definitely.
In
That's why
2017, the government only said, give us fresh evidence, we'll do something about it. You have
Rahul
declassified
Gandhi-
1,300 files, and if you read only the 3 or 4 of those files, Saurav Sikdar, the BJP government can also say Netaji did not die on 18th August 1945. The Modi government has also not said it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
BJP has also not said it.
How come Rahul Gandhi can say that Netaji has died on a such date? What is the evidence? Either he present the evidence, or otherwise he should apologize to everyone. Because in 2019 also, Rahul Gandhi said the same thing. I mean, what is the reason why Rahul Gandhi and Nehru family wants to let Netaji
What
down
is,
every time?
Saurav Sikdar, what is the
reason? That needs to be
BJP and
find
the
out.
current government's official position on Netaji's death?
Sorry?
What is the BJP and the current government's official position on Netaji's death?
No, Netaji's date, what is the exact date? BJP government never announced any date of Netaji. It is, yes, Netaji is missing. We can say after that day, Netaji doesn't have any clue or any concrete news that Netaji is anywhere. But how come someone can say that this is the date when Netaji can die? Netaji, yes, what you have said, Anandji, just a few times back, that Netaji can die in Azad Bharat also. So why Congress is keen to prove that Netaji died in before independence?
My point is, sir, what is
Anand?
the official position of the current government as stated in Parliament in 2017? Has the government of India, under the current leadership, between 2014 and 2024 ever said that the date of death of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is not 18th of August 1945 or cannot be confirmed as 18th of August 1945?
No such date of Netaji's death has been announced officially. So we cannot take it that 18th August can be Netaji's day of death.
Sir, 31st of May 2017, the centre, in reply to an RTI, said it came to conclusion after considering reports of committees that probed the death of Bose, who many believed had not perished in the crash. And they have turned around, and the Home Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs, said in a reply to an RTI application from a Kolkata resident that the government had come to conclusion after considering the reports of various committees that probed the death of Bose, who many believed had not perished in the crash. And the government has turned around and said that that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose died on August 18th, 1945. That is what has been said. Some information regarding Gumnami Baba Bhagwanji is available in the Mukherjee Commission report on page 114 to 122. The Mukherjee Commission had come to the conclusion that Gumnami Baba Bhagwanji was not Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Ministry of Home Affairs has declassified all 37 files relating to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and then the government upheld that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose died on 18th August 1945. This is a RTI reply, RTI filed by Sayak Sen, a resident of Kolkata. So please tell me what is the BJP's position. But the declassified files of now say, by the government only, now come out and say that this General Shide never existed in that flight. There are no remains of General Shide. Official verdict of eyewitnesses say some buried him in Formosa. Others say we brought his remains after cremation to Japan. Netaji's remains have officially not been brought from Japan to Bharat. They still lie there. There is no DNA test to confirm whether those ashes are actually Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's. The government of the day says 18th of August 1945. And today the BJP is questioning Rahul Gandhi. Please tell me, sir. You yourself right now say Netaji went missing. He's not died on 18th August 1945.
Is there any official announcement for BJP or our government that 18th August is the death of Netaji? Never. So there is so many contradictions.
Look at that. I'm putting it out that the government of the day is quoting the 2006 cabinet decision of the Manmohan Singh government to answer.
Yes,
the MHA Saurav Sikdar quoted Manmohan Singh government's cabinet decision, which actually rejected the Justice Mukherjee Commission report.
Yes,
the government of the day under the BJP has not upheld the Justice Mukherjee Commission report. The government of the day has not ordered a re-enquiry. The government of the day has not sought Justice Mukherjee's opinion.
Yes, so that's why we never came to that conclusion. Na? Have there any announcement that BJP government says that this is Netaji's day of death and we will
Sir,
take it as
2017 RTI reply confirmed, upheld the cabinet decision of 2006.
Okay, RTI reply is
so
fine.
what more do I need to say?
Is there any official statement from any of BJP leaders, any of BJP Ministry of Home Affairs? Or
sir, when the MHA responds to an RTI, is it supposed to be official or unofficial, sir?
So this is.
Let me ask you, sir. Let me ask you, sir.
So there is a contradiction, Anandji. There is no confirmed date of Netaji's death. So how come a leader of opposition can say and
has the BJP ever officially said this also? Has the BJP ever officially come out and said, and the government said, that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's death is not confirmed?
No, Netaji Subhash Chandra, but on the other side also, BJP never announced also that Netaji's death is confirmed. So let the thing come out clearly. Then only somebody can has a comment on this.
But for last 10 years, you have not come out on it. Yes, Nikul Patel. The point is, sir, the Congress party rejected Justice Mukherjee Commission's report. Justice Mukherjee had very clearly said that the plane crash was fake. There was no plane crash in Taiwan. But why did the cabinet under Manmohan Singh in 2006 reject Justice Mukherjee Commission's report?
See, firstly, I would like to answer my friend that Netaji is in the heart of everyone. You cannot deny for that. And that is why Rahul Gandhi posted his emotions regarding his feeling for Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, as part of Justice Commission report that you are quoting, I am not right now in a position to tell anything why it was accepted. But if you see, after 18th August,
Sir, it was not accepted, it was rejected. Had it been accepted, then there was no plane crash in Formosa, sir. Justice Mukherjee went to Taiwan. He went despite the dissuading and despite the hurdles created by the government then trying to stop him from going there. They tried to falsify documents. Justice Mukherjee got the cremation records for the whole month of August of 1945. There is no General Shide, there is no Subhash Bose mentioned, and there was no plane crash on that day. That's what he concluded. And that conclusion was rejected by the 2006 Manmohan Singh cabinet.
Definitely,
and the Congress has glossed over it all this while. And on his birthday, why has Mr. Rahul Gandhi tweeted his death date?
See, we don't know what happened after 18th August 1945. We all know that, right? That is so many places. Even
so you don't know what happened. So you proclaimed this man dead. So you proclaim the man who's been credited for the ouster of the British from our country. Clement Attlee said it was not Gandhi, it was Netaji and the Azad Hind Fauj, and we have not given him his due. We have just proclaimed him dead without proving that he was dead.
Nobody in the Congress had never disrespected Netaji.
With due respect, my emotions may have got the better of me because I am one of the many Bharatiya who believe that this true son of the soil deserves at least closure, sir. Deserves the truth, and Bharat deserves the truth of one of the foremost sons of this country. That's my humble request.
Everyone is respected.
Let's set aside the politics and at least get our history right. And give our true champions of our country the first actual Prime Minister, designated Prime Minister of Bharat, Azad Hind, his due. Thank you. I have to wind up on that note. When we come back, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we speak with Chandrachud Ghosh and Anuj Dhar, who talk about the Bose deception, the declassified files, and of course, their 2.5-decade fight on Mission Netaji. Stay with us.
He has now weighed in on the ongoing debate over the H-1B foreign guest workers visa, saying that he preferred both sides of the argument, while also noting that he liked very competent people coming to our country, is what he said. He signed an executive order that targets multiple immigration laws, including the long-standing principle of birthright citizenship. Now, this move has sparked intense debate and is expected to face legal challenges. At the heart of the controversy is the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which grants citizenship to all individuals born in the United States. However, Trump's executive order seeks to reinterpret this amendment. It asserts that children born to undocumented parents are not entitled to automatic citizenship. Meanwhile, 22 Democratic ruled states on Tuesday have taken legal action against the executive order aimed to end a century-old immigration practice. Listen in to what the U.S. president has to say.
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. But I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. Maitre d's, wine, experts, even waiters, high quality waiters.
That it's another important question where it's hard to give you an answer because of the uncertainty of what Trump is going to do on any given point. There's no doubt when we consider the problem of illegal immigration that the problem is severe and needs to be fixed. And Trump's position on that is very popular. What people don't talk about enough is the legal immigration system, which is hopelessly gridlocked. It's very politically difficult to change. My own view is that we should welcome additional immigrants. It's a source of strength for the United States. The visa program is a way to bring people in. They may decide to return to their home country. They may decide to apply for citizenship in the United States. But I think it's a very positive program for the United States. And at some point, we need to find the political will to allow more legal immigration. It's a question of, I think, the long-range future for the country. It's just important for any sovereign state to say we're going to do it in an orderly fashion, and we're certainly not doing that now.
All right, Siddharth Mishra joins me live on the broadcast. Siddharth, I think at the heart of this entire move is also one moot question. Is Donald Trump now equating illegal immigrants in the United States with the legal ones? And what is this going to mean for H-1B visa holders, especially the ones from India?
Well, that's absolutely right, Akanksha. In fact, there are many aspects to this entire immigration, U.S. immigration policy. In fact, in the run-up to the polls, Akanksha, if you remember, Trump has always spoken about the illegal immigration to U.S. In fact, he has also been against his supporters largely. His voter base is perhaps their demand has always been that there should be a strict policy should be put in place so that the outsiders should not take away the jobs here in United States. So that's what his supporters, his traditional supporters, those who have been voting for him since 2017, then in 2020. But it's a very tight situation for Trump, Akanksha, because it's not like signing an executive order or maybe making a statement that 18,000 Indians will be deported to India, because it's more this issue is more sensitive, and there is a constant pressure from the tech lobby, the business lobby on Donald Trump. So today also, if you see, Akanksha, he has given mixed signaling when it comes to the H-1B visa. So it means that he has still not decided that what needs to be done, what steps needs to be taken, because here he has to keep the tech bros also happy. At the same time, he also have to do some things, take some actions perhaps, so that it can satisfy his traditional voters, those who voted for him 2017, then 2020, and then this time around. So that is also a big challenge for Trump, and this is the reason that he said that he likes both sides of this story, and his supporters, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy,
right,
have openly been supporting H-1Bs.
Many thanks to you. He has now weighed in on the ongoing debate over the H-1B foreign guest workers visa, saying that he preferred both sides of the argument, while also noting that he liked very competent people coming to our country, is what he said. He signed an executive order that targets multiple immigration laws, including the long-standing principle of birthright citizenship. Now, this move has sparked intense debate and is expected to face legal challenges. At the heart of the controversy is the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which grants citizenship to all individuals born in the United States. However, Trump's executive order seeks to reinterpret this amendment. It asserts that children born to undocumented
Namaste and welcome. When we say Jai Hind, that word Hind is very important, because that entire coinage is attributed to one gentleman who perhaps is the most unrewarded and unsung of our heroes until recently. Even now, we fondly remember him, but we still have not solved the mystery behind his disappearance. And I say disappearance with great responsibility, because I am one of those who increasingly is led to believe that 18th of August 1945 was not the date of his death. He lived beyond, and like many, and some of my friends who are sitting next to me, I very, very strongly believe he did come back to Bharat. But that's a different story. But what was done with Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and his legacy? Was there a deliberate attempt to A, belittle him, to ensure that he is wiped off the map and memory of an Azad Hind or an Azad Bharat? These are questions which always rancor. And with me are two of my friends, I'd like to call them that, people who've been relentless at least over the last 2.5 decades in this pursuit, perhaps a mission on Netaji. And that's why they call themselves Mission Netaji. And this is their latest contribution, the Bose deception declassified. And why do they call it declassified? Because they have fresh evidence to prove that what was claimed happened on the 18th of August 1945 in Formosa, in Taiwan, that air crash, perhaps never had Subhash Chandra Bose as a part of it. And even if he was part of it, he never succumbed. Chandrachud Ghosh and Anuj Dhar, namaste.
Namaste. I'm very happy to be here again.
It's always great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you. And this is yet another contribution of yours in a long list of what you have tried to do over the last many, many years. But there seems to be a departure in this one. I must admit, I have not read it fully. But what I have perused shows that you are trying to arrive at Subhash Bose, but you're also looking at some of the characters around Netaji at that time,
Right.
to establish or to question the narrative that was built. So let's start with that, Chandrachud. How did this happen? Yeah.
Well,
and why call it the Bose deception?
Exactly. That's where the answer lies. We call it deception because normally you would consider such a thing and find it funny, but this is anything but funny. Bose escaped the Southeast Asian War Theatre by a deception plan. So there was a hoax created, a smokescreen created with the help of the Japanese, and he escaped. But after that, when it was time for him to come back, it was the government of India which created a bigger deception plan with all its state machinery and everything, and completely marginalized him so that no information about his so-called death reaches the people. What we have shown in this book, Anand, is that right from 1946-47, when the independent India's government had also not taken its oath, when there was the interim government before the British exited. From that time onwards, there has been lie after lie after lie after lie, deliberately created falsehoods, stories, narratives, only to support that one claim by the government of India, by India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, that Bose died in the plane crash.
Before we come back to the book, Anuj, have you been, you're a journalist yourself, so let me ask you this. Netaji was somebody, the leftward champion, because he started the forward bloc and he had a certain level of, communist ideals in him, would say. He was past president of the Congress party also. And the current disposition with the BJP is very nationalist, and he was nationalist. So isn't it in everybody's interest to actually uphold his legacy rather than have him dead 18th of August 1900? So have you been able to answer the question ki what's it that ki wo chupa raha hai? Why? If there is so much evidence.
It doesn't serve their interest. That's why.
Can I answer that question?
It doesn't serve their interest. Why? Why would you say that?
No, because it like in a sense that when you talk of Netaji, I mean, this is the issue of the Netaji's death, because you know well that we espouse two causes. When we go around, talk to people, media interaction, otherwise, we espouse the cause number one is that we have sufficient information now available through declassified files and other information on record that India is becoming free had to do with Subhash Chandra Bose, and so Ahimsa had a minimal role. So to recall, to paraphrase Clement Attlee's famous words.
Correct.
So that is our first. That's the reason why we are looking for Subhash. Otherwise, why would I be keen about? There are so many freedom fighters, but then Netaji stood, as far as I'm concerned, he is concerned number one. So he was a person, the reason number one for our freedom, independence. And the second, the issue of his death. So they are interlinked. So the moment you bring out the truth about Netaji's, fate, that he never died. He was, in fact, the whole idea about his being alive in India is so striking and so, it would evoke such emotions across the country. And eventually the whole focus would come around to Netaji's life and times. And will come to the single point that India became free because of him, and that credit was transferred to Gandhiji's name. So that is where the communists who had an alliance with they view Subhash Bose differently, but especially the Congress party won't be able to take it. So Congress has an
तो ये legacy वाला issue हो जाएगा कि भाई if British Prime Minister कह रहा है कि भाई it was नेताजी बोस, अगर उसको हमने मान लिया तो फिर जिसके अराउंड ये पूरा नेहरूवियन मूवमेंट आगे जाके कोऑप्ट करके आगे लेके चले गए, so that will fall apart.
That will fall apart.
It's quite interesting that even with Savarkar, similar aspect of discrediting him. So any other person, ideology, thought process that could have emerged as a political challenge in Azad Hind seems to have been discredited. Do you agree, disagree? I know I'm digressing a bit.
No, I
they're
agree.
not
This is
digressing.
the primary example.
That's the core of the whole matter. You have to remember, when we say these, we have to remember a couple of things. The first thing I wanted to say in the response to your previous question is that there is a dictum which says, what belongs to everybody belongs to nobody.
Nobody.
So that's one philosophical aspect of it. The second aspect of it is, I mean, if you remember Netaji's biography which I wrote, I called him an inconvenient nationalist.
Correct.
He's inconvenient to everybody. And because of the position. And now I come to the main point that when you go back to Netaji's life, and inevitably from this book you have to go back there, he's the only person in the whole history of modern India who electorally defeated Mahatma Gandhi.
Yes.
And that is an insult which the Congress is not willing to accept. They have not forgotten Tripuri in 1939, when he could defeat, snub Gandhi's personal candidate, and Gandhi had to say that Sitaramaya's defeat is my defeat. So that is not something which the Congress is going to accept lying down.
No, but I think a lot has happened after that. The Congress has gone back on a lot of Mahatma Gandhi's vision itself. They've gone back on a lot of their own leaders, successive leaders. They've contradicting, and today they are also contradicting those positions. But 75, 76 years down the line, why? And if it was the Congress's inconvenience, it should be to the current disposition's convenience politically.
Right.
So, why have they not gone through these files and said, all right, we will not declare Subhash Babu dead?
They should. I think it is a bit of a short-sightedness on their behalf, because probably they are still stuck with a small electoral incident of 1940, where Subhash Bose's forward bloc went against or contested the Hindu Mahasabha, and did a temporary alliance with the Muslim League for specific reasons. I am not going into the reasons, but it is something that probably they have not been able to understand, because other than that, I don't find any leader of any spectrum, of any political ideological spectrum, who is teaching kids in his family, making it mandatory, compulsory to read Ramayana or Mahabharata, to learn bhajans, to recite Sanskrit stotras. Forget, let alone a leftist leader. I don't even find any so-called Hindutvadi or nationalist leader doing that. So, being a leftist leader, he was definitely not a communist, never.
Yeah.
He
was leftist, yeah, but
his
he's not a
socialism was only restricted to the economic part of it. Culturally, he was more nationalist than many of the nationalist leaders.
He was a hard Hindu, if I may say that.
Absolutely.
Very deeply spiritual also.
By his practice, he was a very,
And the conundrum talks about his later experiments with Tantra, etc. also.
Absolutely. Then that started from 1927 when he was in jail. So, everybody was doing a lot of other things. He was, whenever he went to prison, he would put up a cloth, make his puja room, and do his tantra sadhana there.
And not too many of the saints or sadhus or spiritual actually sit on a tiger skin, and Netaji used to do that. So that means you have actually developed a certain superior level of sadhana.
So all that has made him an anathema with the leftists, and his alliance or his understanding with Hitler, with Axis powers, that has also made them an anathema.
But he was not always a votary of Hitler.
He was never.
At Dresden, in his lectures and his speeches and all that in Dresden.
He stood for India first.
In private life, all his comrades have attested to the fact that he called Hitler a madman.
I mean, if I can make a comparison, today the entire Western world is calling President Putin a war criminal. So they are not going to touch him. He's buddies. He's a buddy with us. He's India's friend. So because our national interests are guiding us in that direction. So whichever country is in our, to have a relation with any country is going to serve our interests. So we'll have friendship with that country. We are Taliban's. I think we are back in the game now.
So that strategic autonomy that we are pursuing today.
Yeah. The North Korea is our friend. So whatever you may think of Kim Il Sung as he may be a bad guy for all I care, but he's a friend of India. So we are all concerned with the friendship of national interest.
National interest.
So
you believe that Netaji's association with Hitler also was
national interest?
Yeah, that's not
like it or not. It may not be a very popular thing to say in the West, but then the Allied powers were not in for India's freedom. Churchill was sitting and abusing us Hindus, especially in left, right, and center. It was the Axis forces who helped us in our freedom struggle,
and a lot of evidence which is very compelling. Now let's come back to what's compelling this time around.
Right.
Every time there is some aspect which is compelling, which highlights certain facet. Did Netaji live beyond 18th of August 1945? Well, you have made compelling arguments in the conundrum to show yes. Did Netaji have a particular design, and was he politically also done? So you've done another work of his, which was the pre-independence work of Netaji and where his focus was. This talks about the Bose deception. Did he deliberately orchestrate his death with the Japanese,
Right.
so that he could come back eventually in a different form or place and come back to his country? Now, you are trying to make an argument, yes, but then somewhere just now you mentioned that वो अपने narrative में फंस गए. Now, do you have evidence, or do you does this book lead us to that direction?
Yes, we will go step by step. I will take some of the points. Anuj can explain some of the things.
So this general Shide aspect is a very interesting one, saying that somebody who was supposed to have flown with him is claimed by the Chinese that he was shot dead on a different plane altogether. So that's what you are saying, the war historians, Chinese war historians.
Subhash was flying with him, the other way around. Subhash was flying with him. He was the plane was carrying Shidai. So
Subhash was the co-passenger.
So Shidai is the main person. So that
but that person was never in that plane.
Never in that plane, and according to the government of India, according to the Japanese, Shidai and Subhash Bose died at the same place, same time, whatever. But according to Chinese, Shidai died elsewhere, probably.
And the plane landed in
the plane was, in the sea.
East China Sea, and 3 eyewitnesses, three different,
I must tell you,
three different testimonies.
Before he started, let me just get a grueling side of it. When people talk, what has led to this? I mean, what we have done. I mean, what has led to this different story, but what has happened that this also is an example of what Subhash Chandra Bose is all about. Many of the very people whose name are taken with a lot of respect these days, because could be because of vote bank politics or whatever. When you go to the National Archives and you look for records, you hardly find records, because these people were not that great in the eyes of the British. So probably you will find one mention to them in one of the dispatches in the one particular month. Subhash Bose is somebody on whom, as of today, as we speak, Modi government released about 304 or 5 files from the PMO, MHA, ME and Cabinet Secretariat. The previous Manmohan Singh government was compelled by us, in a way, using the RTI, because we ran after them. We were compelled to release about 1,100, whatever, 200 files, which were linked to Subhash Bose directly, indirectly. Then in 1997, the Ministry of Defence released about 990 files on Subhash Bose and INA. And add to it are their files, I mean, insofar as death is concerned in America, which we have used in this book. We have used files for the first time from Taiwan. This is the first thing. Anybody has gone and located files in Taiwan. We have used file, of course, from the British side, and there are, of course, papers on Subhash Bose in Japan. There are papers about him in Italy. There are papers about, if you go Germany and Australia, of course, there's one relevant file. So this gentleman, a person has got so many files in so many countries. And that's what we have done for the last
about 3,000 files to मैं roughly गिन ही सकता हूँ जितना आपने अभी तक गिना है.
And roughly 2,200, 2,500 files is what we're talking about.
All the files and the references about the death mystery, be it an Australia file or the Indian file, the Taiwanese file, we have put everything together, and this has come out.
So March, April 1945, you believe that the Japanese had somewhere convinced Netaji, and Netaji has also come around that, listen, I have to vanish. I have to, something has to be orchestrated.
Netaji convinced him because he saw that Japanese are losing the war. Japanese had started losing the Pacific War very badly. So if Netaji, the other point which he saw and he clearly talked about is that there was a fallout between the Soviet Union and the UK and US. So they were going to split into 2 camps. He forced
States he has now weighed in on the ongoing debate over the H-1B foreign guest workers visa, saying that he preferred both sides of the argument, while also noting that he liked very competent people coming to our country, is what he said. He signed an executive order that targets multiple immigration laws, including the long-standing principle of birthright citizenship. Now, this move has sparked intense debate and is expected to face legal challenges. At the heart of the controversy is the 14th Amendment of the US Constitution, which grants citizenship to all individuals born in the United States. However, Trump's executive order seeks to reinterpret this amendment. It asserts that children born to undocumented parents are not entitled to automatic citizenship. Meanwhile, 22 democratic ruled states on Tuesday have taken legal action against the executive order aimed to end a century-old immigration practice. Listen in to what the US president has to say.
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. But I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. Maitre d's, wine, experts, even waiters, high quality waiters.
That it's another important question where it's hard to give you an answer because of the uncertainty of what Trump is going to do on any given point. There's no doubt when we consider the problem of illegal immigration that the problem is severe and needs to be fixed. And Trump's position on that is very popular. What people don't talk about enough is the legal immigration system, which is hopelessly gridlocked. It's very politically difficult to change. My own view is that we should welcome additional immigrants. It's a source of strength for the United States. The visa program is a way to bring people in. They may decide to return to their home country. They may decide to apply for citizenship in the United States. But I think it's a very positive program for the United States. And at some point, we need to find the political will to allow more legal immigration. It's a question of, I think, the long-range future for the country. It's just important for any sovereign state to say we're going to do it in an orderly fashion, and we're certainly not doing that now.
All right, Siddharth Mishra joins me live on the broadcast. Siddharth, I think at the heart of this entire move is also one moot question. Is Donald Trump now equating illegal immigrants in the United States with the legal ones? And what is this going to mean for H-1B visa holders, especially the ones from India?
Well, that's absolutely right, Akanksha. In fact, there are many aspects to this entire immigration, U.S. immigration policy. In fact, in the run-up to the polls, Akanksha, if you remember, Trump has always spoken about the illegal immigration to U.S. In fact, he has also been against his supporters largely. His voter base is perhaps their demand has always been that there should be a strict policy should be put in place so that the outsiders should not take away the jobs here in United States. So that's what his supporters, his traditional supporters, those who have been voting for him since 2017, then in 2020. But it's a very tight situation for Trump, Akanksha, because it's not like signing an executive order or maybe making a statement that 18,000 Indians will be deported to India, because it's more this issue is more sensitive, and there is a constant pressure from the tech lobby, the business lobby on Donald Trump. So today also, if you see Akanksha, he has given mixed signaling when it comes to the H-1B visa. So it means that he has still not decided that what needs to be done, what steps needs to be taken, because here he has to keep the tech bros also happy. At the same time, he also have to do some things, take some actions perhaps, so that it can satisfy his traditional voters, those who voted for him 2017, then 2020, and then this time around. So that is also a big challenge for Trump, and this is the reason that he said that he likes both sides of this story, and his supporters, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy,
right,
have openly been supporting H-1Bs.
Many thanks to you. He has now weighed in on the
CNN News 18 Primetime Studio.
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks with me, Zaka Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Green Lamb Laminates. It's been a week exactly since Saif Ali Khan was stabbed in his home inside his younger son Jay's room. A couple of days back, Saif walked out of hospital looking hale and hearty, Many on social media saying that he didn't quite look like a man who had been stabbed 6 times and who had to undergo a complex 3.5-hour-long surgery to remove a piece of knife that was stuck inside his body. Tomorrow, the accused person, and there is so far only